Good Monday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks, SUVs, motorcycles, the dogs, the kid, the challenges of life, the attitudes, and wow, hey, we got some snow here yesterday after all those heavy rains. Hey, good morning there to all those that actually get up every day and tune into my channel. Really appreciate that. For the biker bug, aka Andrew, for the Matt, for the Ben, for my buddy Tim, for Roger, for Army Vet Retired, for Corporal Busa, for Metallica, for Tactical Max. I mean, I can go through the list of just so many great people that tune in my channel on a regular basis, and I'm just reaching out to say hey. And I'm sure I didn't say everybody, and my apologies for any of those that I recognize your name. Just too much information overload, and I can only hope there's a few new people watching my channel this morning because it's Monday morning. It's time to get the week going as the holiday cheer and jolly begins to come around us, because and to be jolly, right? The wife is back in town. There's my old sticker, which Mr. Sanchez, I didn't mention you, did I? But I just mentioned you now because Mr. Sanchez likes that sticker better than my other sticker on my other vehicles. Even my kid won't put my sticker on some of her vehicles. Can you believe that? Can you believe? Can we over here and look at my daughter's Ram 2500? Does she look? Is it a disgrace? Oh my gosh, there's her vehicle. What about over here? Wow. Is that wow? Wow. I can't believe it. Even for me. Do I pay attention to stuff? But hey, whatever. But hey, what is going on the Monday morning after another adventurous weekend? Channel, you can see the adventures of the used Raptor 37 have been a lot of the talk, and the used Ram TRX has been a lot of talk. And guess what the word of the day today is? Use the word used, and boy, does that have a broad meaning in many aspects to many things, but we'll keep it simple for the moment. In the cars, I thought to myself this morning, even for me, I woke up early this morning and thought, you know what, I've never even thought about how many used vehicles do I have versus new vehicles? How many vehicles did I buy used versus new? Because I'm sure a lot of people could just take the assumption, watch my channel, that all I ever do is go out and buy new cars. Well, for the record, you're wrong. Get this. Let's go through the selection here of what's used and new. So I bought that new. That's one. I bought that car used from a couple that's local here that's borderline as bad as me, buying a car all the time, drives a little while and sells it. And I really lucked out. I'm buying my wife this V8 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. I guess it's the first edition or launch edition. Beautiful car, 2023. And wow, it's a used vehicle purchase. There's one. The Ram 2500, if you really watch my channel from a year ago, this wasn't even around my driveway for like 3 months because of the guy that took apart something, wasn't too smart, but you know that story if you watch the channel. There's number two used. Here's an F450 truck that I sacrificed my F-150 Tremor truck that I just absolutely loved in the summer of 2022. Graduation year for the kid of high school, college. Yeah, wife would love to hear that conversation. But yeah, the high school graduation sweetheart deal for her was she got an F450, only for us to sell it, only for us to buy it back. Did you just hear that? Yeah, right. So that's a used. So there's 3 used purchases. Up here, the F-150 Lightning truck. I bought that last fall for a gentleman by the name of Joe that worked for me to try to help his circumstances out. Being he had a 2008 Toyota FJ Cruiser that he couldn't, the TRD that he bought for me that just finally saw its day. So many problems. I felt for him and I bought him a nice used F-150 Lightning truck, which now I actually have that I don't even drive for the most part, with 20,000 miles on it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a new car I purchased. Mistake. 2. New car purchase. 3. There's the Super Duty Tremor. You watch my channel, you saw me buy that. So that's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 used. Bronco, that was used. 6. We got the Platinum F-150 Power Boost. So what's that make that number 3? So okay, over here we got a used Smoke Show that we bought twice. What's that, 7? This is new, what's that, 4? This is used, this is 8. We can go in the garage and look at that race truck. I mean, that thing's just so cool, or what? Come on, puppies! Get in the barn. You guys are running bucks. What are you at, 8? Yeah, I'll lose all my numbers here. But I think we're 2 for 1 right now. So we get in here to the garage. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What a day yesterday. To surprise my wife, my daughter and I yesterday, an extremely rainy day. Come on, Ginger. Come on, Scout. We spent the whole day. I'm not embellishing. We spent the whole day yesterday ripping apart the whole lower level of my house and redoing everything. Oh my God. I pulled my hamstring on my right rear leg. I woke up this morning with a cramp like you can't believe. I mean, dire, talk about, the die impact feeling of agony and pain. Come on, pups, get in. And as always, we get in the garage and got to get the lights on for lights, camera, action. For always the car addictions, the car muscle garage, the car addiction garage of the Iceman. So here's 2 more used vehicles, which, for the record, I bought that back twice. That's a whole other story. It was at 9, 10. I think we're at 10 used. Here's brand new. So it's at 5, maybe 6. I'm just kind of now, at a loss because I'm talking about so many things all at once. But I think that the used so far is ahead of the new, but then we go to the motorcycle side, it could probably catch up. A new, what's that now? Like 6, 7, 8, the Triumph 9, the KTM's a dirt bike. I don't think we can keep that in the realm here. But you go to the motorcycle trailer, and I've got a used Harley Davidson CVO. So it's that. 11. I got a Honda Goldwing used. What's that? 12. I've got a Indian Chief Bobber. What's that, like 13? 12, 13. I'm just talking. And then I've got a used Street Bob in that trailer. So I think I have like 14 used vehicles. So if you watch my channel, I'm sure a lot of people are like, yeah, this guy just buys everything new. So yeah, so here's the conversation, used. Why are we talking about used? Well, if you're watching the channel, here it is. That's my dad's desk. That's my dad's desk that was in our house along with, I'm going to probably show you some pictures, but I'm not showing the before pictures because the wife would probably shoot me. I wouldn't blame her. But that desk came from my father's office that he used to have way up in that really cool house up there. That was the upper level. And it's an office up there. Not anymore. People that bought it have made it into a bedroom. But anyways, that came from there from so many years ago. And I got it out of the house because my wife used to have an office downstairs. And she decided that she wanted to have more light in her room. And, she's an old farmhouse. So she now is upstairs where she has lighting. I should say open windows. The other where she used to be is kind of just a dark, cold, it just is kind of not a great area. But anyways, so we rearranged the whole house yesterday for the kid and I, and it was and I didn't know for sure if my wife was coming back, and then I could see find my iPhone that she was coming back, and we had to really hightail it to get the whole house in order for her to see our hard efforts and work. So as usual, it's always about the conversations about me buying something. Is that like the ongoing YouTube, Iceman, Ice Age TV for the most part? So yes, it's the ongoing challenge. Do I buy a Raptor truck back? I love the Raptor truck, and it's just I get it fixated on something, and until I can get it, I just don't let it go. That's just my challenge. And I really want a Raptor 37. And I finally have found a nice used Raptor 37, but at the same time, there's a nice new Raptor 37. So, and that's what intrigued this conversation this morning. As I woke up early this morning, and I get to thinking, wow, at Ted Britt Ford, I've been on the page of trying to get a black 37 at MSRP, and that's a great deal considering over the years they've always have been charging way over. But now the days have changed, and they're starting to take a little different look at that, and some dealers aren't being so aggressive. And the initial goal was to get rid of the, not trade anything, but that didn't work out. And maybe watch the channel, it's redundant conversation, but the goal was to get rid of that car, because right now I have 3 Mustangs, which I really don't need 3 Mustangs. I don't need all these cars either. I hear you. I just heard you said. I get it. I know. So anyways, that was the goal. That's not working. It's not going to work. So now it's coming into, I'm going to have to sacrifice something. But is it worth it? And that's where the challenge for me is getting tougher and harder to come to closure. Do I really do it? And the really challenging thing is seeing the used market in these Hellcats has really softened up dramatically. Yes. And that's really borderline to this point for me. It's like, is it worth it? Is it worth me paying out so much money over the next year to only get it paid back where I really didn't make any money? I mean, it's very challenging. So me right now, it's like, is it maybe time to say goodbye to the Mopars? Just because I truly love my Super Bee. It's so much more affordable vehicle. It's a blast. It's fun. My daughter loves that smoke show out in the driveway. And is it time to cross the bridge and you say, hey, it just isn't really, worth us continuing to keep these expensive cars of the what if. And a huge concern for me is that if Dodge does come out with a replacement Charger, and keep in mind, the replacement Dodge Charger is a 2-door car. Like the original Dodge Charger. Original Dodge Charger was not a 4-door car. So you're going back to Dodge taking the retro. And so what if they bring out an ICE? It's probably going to be the Hurricane motor, but let's just say the ICE hybrid setup is 1,000 horsepower. And it looks badass. I mean, I think there always would be a calling for the Dodge Charger, but So, and I think this will be hard to ever replace on the retro look, and this will always be sought after, I think, more all day long than that. But you go from a year from now, and if Stellantis, Dodge, and Tim Knuskis makes his major announcement and unveils this badass ICE Charger that is a $100,000 car and has 1,000 factory horsepower, and then here I am, a guy wanting over $100,000 for this car. I don't know. What's the market? So that's the whole point of that conversation right now is, do I take this and let it go for the Raptor 37? And it's interesting, believe it or not, I'm getting more people that are reaching out. They're saying, do not let the F-250 Tremor truck go. Don't let that thing go. Let the frickin' Mopars go. What they're saying, which I don't disagree. Let the more expensive Corporal Busa, if I don't say it correctly, sorry, but he's reaching out saying, let go of the more expensive vehicle. And I'm like, right, he's much more the financial guru from the way he interacts with my channel. And I think he knows how to manage his money far better than I do, which that's fantastic. Just like my friend Chris. He runs into me at Costco. He literally takes his shopping cart out of nowhere that I didn't know he was there with Shannon and runs into me. Slams into my shopping cart just to be able to say, hey, what's going on? Had a great conversation and all. So anyways, wow, it's that time of the year now where the consistent cooler weather is here all week. It's 30s, 40s. So the winter season really here is upon us. And so anyways, yeah, the used, but like I just said a minute ago, but do I go back to the idea of getting the new black 37 Raptor? But here's the challenge. My buddy Alex at Oarsman Ford out there in Manassas, he spent 45 minutes on the phone arguing with Ford Credit. So what people don't deep and dirty and down to, hey, you have a different look? What looks different on me? Have you noticed? What'd I do? What was the switcheroo? Yeah, so got the duck hat on now. So the down and dirty is I have 2 different accounts. I've got a personal account with Ford Motor Credit, and then I have a business account with Ford Motor Credit. And that's where it starts to get very complicated. That's where people are like, I just don't understand why I the Mustang. Love to. It's in my company name. So that has to be a company transaction. In Ford Motor Credit, my company side, it has a lot of exposure, and they don't want that exposure to go any further than it is. They want it to come down. I'm over their line of credit in their views. This is my personal name. You think, how the hell does that be? Wouldn't the truck be better off to be in your business than the car? It gets complicated. So on the personal side, Ford personal, we tried to run a deal buying that 37 Raptor, my friend Alex, without any trade. They won't do it because I have lots of other Ford credit obligations, and that's one of them. But also, it's the Dodge Charger. Yes, the Dodge Charger, Ford Motor bought the deal from Coons Baltimore Ford in this blue Charger. So the challenge is for me to be able to buy the Raptor 37 without having to give Ford and my company side a gazillion dollars. They want $47,000 down. Just so you know, if I use that Ford Mustang out there to trade in my company name, they want $47,000 down. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, I've got that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, see you later. So I got creative. We've gone to the personal side. We now have gotten approval from Ford Motor to trade the Tremor truck out here for that Raptor 37 used. That's a done deal, but it's too much money down. And I'm not going to do it. So it's once again, it's too much money down because they're not giving me a lot of money, what I feel like this thing's worth for what it's owed. Because I just bought it this April and I traded a vehicle for that vehicle. So it's got some negative equity. And that's the challenge. You have all these cars, you're constantly buying a car every 6 months. You're trading out a car every year. Unless you put a lot of money down, you're always going to have a negative equity problem. So the Charger, that number is disappointing because I paid a lot of money for our car last year. I paid $88,000 for our car last year. And right now, I'm getting a number of 80 grand for value, which I don't like that. So that's not encouraging. I really felt that a year ago, by this time this year, this would still be a $90,000, $100,000 car because the red eye isn't a dominant product in the market. And it gets confusing because, yes, the Dodge Hellcats, there's a ton of them out in the market. But when it comes to the red eye, a.k.a. the Demon Motor package, they're not out there by leaps and bounds. And the new ones are extremely expensive. You want a brand new red eye, you're going to pay over $100,000. Leesburg Dodge has a 2022 red eye jailbreak that somebody took a beating on that they have in their showroom for like $92,000. It's a beautiful car. I guarantee the person bought it, paid $100 plus. I mean, guaranteed. So there's a challenge. Dealership isn't going to buy this car for 90 grand. Now, for me to try to sell this car to somebody for 90 grand, yeah, it's probably out there if I probably want to start playing the market. But by the time I get done doing that, and then everything starts changing on the availability of the Raptor 37 used. New, not so much. So yeah, I don't know. So my channel may reach out and say, "Hey man, I want your car. How much you sell it to me for?" And for me, my goal was over $100,000. So the used factor, as we know, the used factor, what is the most common conversation about the car market? The used car values are tanking. It's over, which in some ways, yeah, the whole car market is adjusting. It seems to be simmering down. But what befuddles me is how the dealership out there, Alex, my friend, I called him yesterday morning to give him another angle on how to get this deal done. And he was slammed. That dealership in Manassas, there were people lined up buying cars. I could barely get out of that damn place. It was a joke. But the Gloomer Doomers tell everybody that nobody's buying cars anymore. They're so full of BS, it's beyond unbelievable. These guys should be politicians. I mean, sincerely. I think I'm going to start making comments to you guys' channels. You should run for be a political politician. You know how to, it's a smoke screen. You walk around dealer's lot, look at all these cars these guys have. Look at all these cars. They don't sell these things anymore, man. It's like, you're freaking delusional, dude. They're still selling cars. For the record, close to 40 million cars used It's like 38 million cars used or sold on an annual basis. New car sales, it can mean all over the place. It could be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 million cars. So it's double, borderline, in some years, close to triple the amount of car sales on used. But all these gloomer doomers, all they focus on cars. They walk around the new car lots and they just show how they get the same Dodge Challenger in different colors down the line. And so then that dealership's dead in the water. It ain't selling nothing. Okay, whatever. What about the used cars? I'm sure some car experts say, well, the used car market's gotten soft. Well, for the record, in this area where I live, used cars are still selling. Wherever I drive, the lights are on. I mean, I'm sure there's different environment, different days, because all of you guys that are in the car industry, you were spoiled. The pandemic spoiled you because of all the fake money. The fake money that created what in so many ways is the dire straits of the automotive industry by so many out there that say it is. Oh, it just doesn't end. So what do I do, right? What do I do? Besides, some people are like, just leave it alone. Don't buy the 37 Raptor and just keep your car. Okay, well, yeah. But my real goal with these, really has always been to flip them and make a good chunk of money. So I guess I really think I'm a good year too early. I think this is a good solid year. But at the same time, what I'm saying is we all heard just a year ago, yeah, that supercharger, isn't that cool? But that supercharger on this car here isn't even look cooler. Can't wait to do that setup. But we all know that a year ago that Tim Knuskis showed a all-electric Dodge Daytona Charger Banshee edition with this weed whacker noise coming out of it. I mean, did you just hear that? A weed whacker noise coming out of the back of the car for the electric fake engine noise. If you guys were watching my channel when we were over there at that Max Custom Garage, oh my gosh, I was seeing myself yesterday morning. It'd have been classic. And if I worked that place and I had the people come by, what I would do, the antics I'd do. And for those two young guys who were there, I truly just said, hey, look, I can help your noise problem. We have what will make this thing sound louder than anything you've ever owned. And let me show you what I'm going to do for you. We've got the speaker system. I can put a speaker, I would sell them a speaker box for the back of the car to make it sound louder. So if we would have the timing would have been better in that conversation. We were all having a good old time with that imploded, pregnant-looking kamikaze muffler for that Honda Civic. I mean, if I were to be thinking further, like, hey, let's get the speaker. But I did say that in the thing. So, all right, let's get up here with the ongoing Monday morning, first of the week conversations, get things going, the never-ending car addictions, the never-ending challenges of me wanting something different and new. Is it really worth it? Come on, pups. In so many ways, not really. But in other ways, I think it is. Because I think that Raptor 37 is such a cool vehicle. Let's get the heat on. Got the crew here. Kiefer Boy is such the out-of-control dog. I cannot handle that. Trying to do a YouTube channel, and look at that there. Huh? How'd you like to have that? 1974 Mustang Mach 1. What should you take? That? GT500? I mean, what should you take? Anything you want. But you had to take one or the other. Would you take the used one or the new one? And I guarantee a lot of people watch my channel and say, I want the used one, but at the same time, some people are like, yeah, but those things weren't the greatest of cars back then with all the Ford challenges and Ford issues. Wow. So, pretty crazy. My last Ice Age CD sticker I gave out was to Emily. They're the sales lady at the Oarsman, formerly, a.k.a. Battlefield Ford at Manassas. So, I went there years ago. Back in the 2000 years, I used to buy commercial rollback trucks from them. So I've dealt with them many times. I've had Ford trucks over the years, but I haven't had the cars per se. always had the heavy-duty trucks and things. So let's get my computer here. So used, I mean, I think of myself the used. I mean, who doesn't feel used and abused? I mean, more than ever in today's society, who doesn't just feel like we're being used and abused? And I think the Ice Age is a perfect example of just that. I think more than ever, we are being so used and abused. And I read a great article about the COP28, the COP, the Paris Accord, basically the big meeting in Dubai, where all the big wigs throughout the world are coming together to talk about the future of of what's going on in the world for the climate. You know, it's all the green agenda. It's all about how they meet the 1.5 Celsius degree challenge. And it's pretty good stuff, because I actually took my phone and I actually saved it, because I love what's going on. You know, and this is here. Oh my gosh, can't get my mouse. I guess my mouse is dead on my one computer. Just ever have a mouse where you know, shooting it around to find. So I think that it's dead. So I think I have to plug it in to get it to have some life on my mouse. Let me do that. And you know, before I get into that, though, I was going to show you the pictures of my house. You never see the pictures of the house, and I just know my wife would be like, "Why did you show people the pictures of our house? They're going to be here to break in and take everything." I'm like, yeah, okay, well. So here we are. Here's one picture of my old farmhouse. I'll get it a little better for you. See if you can get that there for you. If it kind of comes through. Sometimes it takes a second for it to. There you go. All right. There's one picture there. And then it didn't look like that before. I mean, yeah, like I say, I'm not doing the before and after pictures because the wife would be like all over me. I can promise you that. You know, no good deed goes unpunished. That's like the living room area of the house. Then we have that library where my wife used to have a office in the library. And that used to be literally an office, and we ripped it all apart, and we took it. And that used to be the parish's room of meetings, is my understanding from so many years ago. And I've talked about that there's a church across the way from here, and that was the gathering room. Now, is that factual or not? I don't know. Let's see here. If I can get another one for you. Yeah, here's a good one for you. Let's see. So, and once again, I'm just kind of sharing, because I'm sure a lot of people are like, you know, what is the inside of the house? We always walk outside the door. And I've done so much work to this house. I mean, oh my gosh, it just doesn't end. It doesn't end. And like I said, I'm not going to show, I didn't do before pictures. And I just sound like, no, I'm not doing that. So, all right, so here I am on my phone looking for my notes here, because I think this is just where we are. And it's the COP28, and it's a pretty good article from an editorial point of view of a journalist in the Wall Street Journal. And he talks about how the great and good of politics and business have converged in Dubai this week for the global climate conference known as COP28. And by now they must wish they hadn't. The event has done the one thing such confabs are supposed never to do, which is expose the truth about climate change and the race to net zero carbon emissions. Stop it. Stop it. The truth teller in chief is the event's host, Sutton Al-Jabbar. He's become a figure of hate on the eco left since letting slip that he's a net zero skeptic. There's no science out there. This is what he's saying. Not at the conference, but this is some other conversation that's been exposed of his views. There's no science out there or no scenario out there that says that the phase out of fossil fuels, Ice Age, is what's going to achieve 1.5 degrees Celsius. Not Fahrenheit, Celsius. So in Fahrenheit, that would be higher. He said of the climate industry's global temperature target during a virtual event last month. So this is what he said we were somewhere else, not at the COP28. He warned that attempting to wean the world of fossil fuels would take the world back into caves. So what's interesting about this COP28, the net zero apostles say the political leader and head of state oil company in a major petroleum producing country never should be invited to the host the COP28. But why? So this is where it gets so aggravating of where we live in our society today. Is it's a one way path. Once you object to that one way green agenda, you're now a terrible person. And the amount of actually fossil fuel executives at this event is the most ever. So the fossil fuel industry is really starting to ramp up the challenge to the green agenda people that are going off the deep end like never seen ever, to start opposing these radical views and what they feel is really the wrong direction. So here's it goes. But then someone has to drill the oil that powers the private jets that ferry the bigwigs to these confabs. The bigger embarrassment for the climate left is that voters agree with Mr. Jabbar. If you haven't paid much attention to COP28 this week, perhaps you've read about the collapse of the net zero agenda around the world. Wow. So the ice age is speaking up because we understand that this is such the farce. Is that the word you use? The European Union's deal is on the rocks, barely 4 years after it was unveiled to great fanfare. Key elements of the program, especially concerning land conservation, have withered on contact with the European Parliament, and enthusiasm for the rest is waning. Brussels frets it can't keep pace with subsidies in America's Inflation Reduction Act because Europe doesn't have the money. What the hell is going on in this country? This government handing out money? What the hell is going on? What is going on? I mean, it is so bad. It is so bad. And you know how people turn blue in their face to fight for the political person in power that's handing out money that we don't have. It's unbelievable. It's just, it's like you go into a person's house or pound on their door and tell them to give you money. And they're like, I don't have any money. I don't care. Give me your money. I don't have any money. I mean, it's beyond believable. In the United Kingdom in September, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak ditched an electric vehicle mandate that had been due to kick in by 2030. This still didn't spare him a revolt by his own Conservative Party members of Parliament this week, as more than 24 voted against a backdoor attempt to impose on automaker a quota for sales of new EVs. The quota passed, Mr. Sunak is on the notice. Mr. Sunak's administration also promises to issue new licenses for oil and gas drilling in the North Sea. Ooh, wow. A policy the opposition Labour Party seems unlikely to reverse. If Labour wins an election expected next year, Labour has scaled back its own green spending pledges because the party suspects voters will be worried of such large fiscal commitment. Wow. Listen to this. This is all what this editorial journalist is sharing with you and I right now of what's going on. And more of the world big leaders and powers are really starting to really step back. And, the goal is to avoid the embarrassment that befell the center-left in elections in the Netherlands last month. The vote was a rebuff of Frans Timmermans, the political previously in charge of the EU's Green Deal. Voters instead turned to a politician on the right, Geert Wilders, who has little time for net zero. The election may have been motivated more by immigration concerns, but voters previously had elected a new anti-environmental regulation Farmers Party to the largest fraction in the parliament's upper house as a protest against emission restrictions in agriculture. Germany is slipping into political disarray after a court ruling in mid-November disallowed the budget gimmick Berlin planned to use to finance net zero pledges by forcing tens of billions of euros green spending back on the government's balance sheet from such funds where politicians hope to hide the expense. The right is confronted voters on the choice now between the welfare and climate and fiscal politicians, math imperialist chancellors of Olaf coalition. The common denominator is reality. European countries like the U.S. are discovering no matter how hard they push on net zero strain, costs have never come down. Green jobs never materialize to replace industrial employment, and the subsidy bill never declines. Meanwhile, Europe's economies are already highly efficient carbon emitted per year of gross domestic product, and China and India keep building coal-fired power plants. Anyways, did you just hear that? China and India keep building coal-fired power plants. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's it right there. Developing economies don't have the luxury of net zero fantasies and understand that you need fossil fuels for people to enjoy rising prosperity. The alternative is the cave Mr. Barr is telling, and it turns out that no number of elaborate climate summits will persuade ordinary people to return to the darkness. And there you go. And I was thinking to myself this morning that we're being used. We're being used at the biggest government policies ever in this country, because we know that China has all the materials. I've talked about this on my channel that requires the use to build these electric batteries, electric cars. China dominates all of that infrastructure. So you and I are being used by this green agenda to enrich China. We're enriching China like never seen before. And I've talked about this throughout my YouTube channel so many times about how it's just a transfer of wealth from the oil guy to the electric guy, which is going to be China. And for us, there's so many aspects of between us paying more for everything. And it's just great to read these type of articles that you see more and more of the big guys. And I've talked about this so many times that you have in the green agenda, you have these billions of dollars of organizations throughout the world to go into these manufacturing and big companies to force the hand for the shareholders and the board members and the CEOs to bend to their culture. And I've talked about, when is the Ice Age individuals, what is the Ice Age powers to be of monies collected to go fight these demented views in so many ways because of what they're, and some people watching channel be like, yeah, but stuff is, I don't disagree that we all should work harder to help preserve the future of our planet and the well-being of man. I don't disagree with that whatsoever. But I think there's a fine line of, what you can do to try to help make things better besides just a radical line. And I think most would agree that we are now at a radical line of, we have the 2030 deadline. I mean, if anybody has been around long enough, 10 years goes by pretty quickly. And we're now, 2030 deadline, if you're manufacturing, if you're building cars, 2035, to meet these incredibly strict standards, the amount of money and the infrastructure to change all this at a rapid pace, is very challenging and very expensive. And it's not to say it won't be fail-proof. And so, interesting article in Ohio. There's a whole article right now about how the Joe Biden's IRA, you'd be amazed how many people that have no clue what the IRA is. You'd be amazed at, I get that. People have a life to live. If you're a parent, I ran across the coolest guy yesterday. I don't know if he's watching my channel this morning, but we were at Costco after good old Chris ran into my shopping cart. And then we hung out and talked for a while. So then the daughter and I went to Costco to get the dog food because apparently Kiefer, the Kiefer dog, I used to go to Sam's Club. He can't eat Sam's Club dog food. So we've had to go back to Costco, which I've been going to Costco. And that place is just a zoo, especially on the weekend. So we're there its place is packed. And so this gentleman that, for the record, doesn't look like me, really nice gentleman, we're going through the aisles and we run into each other, meaning we're sitting there looking at each other. Who goes before me or you? And I let him go. And he's like, no. I'm like, go. He's like, nope, you go. I'm like, well, I'll go, but I'm going right up here to the dog food section to get dog food. So I'm going to block. And then he's like, I don't care about that. And he's like, you got a dog? I said, I got 5. He's like, that's great. I'm getting ready to get a German Shepherd. And I'm like, really? I said, that's awesome. We have a German Shepherd. So we start talking. And I said, how many kids do you have? He says, 8. I said, 8 kids? How do you even have a life? He's like, yeah, I don't have a life. I'm like, right. I said, are you sure you want a German Shepherd? Have you ever had a dog before? He's like, not really. I'm like, look, I don't know. I think German Shepherds are fabulous dogs. I don't know. They need a lot of attention. They need a lot of focus. They're always on a mission to do something. So we're talking and talking, and I told him get a Labradoodle, get a lab. I don't know, get something that I don't know. I said German Shepherd's a great dog. I'm sure a lot of people out there would support it, but for me, I have one, and I've had so many different dogs. I said go to the pound, get a mix, and he's like, we've been checking the pound, but we just can't find any. So we're just talking and talking. So then we just start kind of getting more in depth of kind of who we are and what we're doing. And of course, I share with him that I'm a car enthusiast, and he really wasn't per se, but blah, blah, blah. And then I just tell him that I like to share conversations. And I told him, hey, I've got a YouTube channel. Wow, surprising the Iceman would bring up he has a YouTube channel, right? Yeah, always talking. So we're talking, but this is the reason I'm bringing this up. And I'm not embellishing here, even my daughter. So I said, I don't know, which side of the party you're on. And I said, it doesn't matter. What matters between you and I is can we both kind of think and look at things that make sense. And he's like, right. He's like, we all need to come together and just be more common. He's like, I think the governing bodies of our country, no matter which side, are out of control, and they're not doing our country any favor. I'm like, right, exactly. And I said, I don't know if you're a Trump guy, you're a Biden guy, or whatever. I said, but people don't realize, and this is what's classic. I said, the Inflation Reduction Act that Joe Biden brought, and this lady is walking by as I said, Joe Biden, and she looks back at us with the nastiest stare that you could ever imagine. My daughter. I'm like, so I guess she's thinking I'm promoting Joe Biden. I don't know what she's thinking. And I even kind of stopped, like, no, ma'am, I just talked about, Joe. I didn't go talk to her, but it's like, hey, I just said that Joe, because he didn't know what the Inflation Reduction Act was, and that's why I brought up Joe Biden's name. And so, going back to Ohio. So in Ohio, apparently this Ohio state is getting huge subsidies of the Inflation Reduction Act. It's called it's like the CHIP Act. There's actually a dedicated CHIP Act of like $53 billion that the government's handing out for the infrastructure of us to start building semiconductors in this country. And the likes of Intel and other companies are setting up shop in Ohio. Because we all know that during the pandemic, after the pandemic, there was a huge chip shortage. So to address that, this governing body thinks that everybody's going to go want to be a chip manufacturer employee. Well, not so much. Right now, they're saying they're in Ohio. They're building out massive facilities for this semiconductor chip manufacturing. They can't find help. They don't have qualified help. Even these companies are going to the high school, college day events to present to them what you should study in college to become a semiconductor chip technician. And the fanfare is waning. People really aren't interested. So they're already predicting that there's going to be about 130,000 shortage of skilled employees to work at these factories. And the concern is that the bigger guys are going to go and suck away the really knowledgeable people from other companies by luring them away and paying them better money. Another concern is a lot of people in smaller business in Ohio will be challenged to pay people more money because of them taking away their employees to go work for a bigger company. So the Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Act, it's all under the same, really, AKA the New Green Deal. And I've talked about it in great lengths throughout my channel. And, so the used, what are we being used for? What is going to come down to is this country is going to use us at the fastest pace ever to transform into the alternative form of energy for our country. And will it be the right use of us or abuse of us? And for us taxpayers, I don't know. I mean, wow. And don't get me wrong. I don't even hear on my channel think that I'm not for advancement of the better of mankind. I mean, I don't disagree. I don't think that I'm not here for us to be the guys that can set up shop in our own country and be the number one guys in the world. But where we are in today's world with the China dominance that is controlling this whole electric EV revolution, you just really have to truly believe that were being used more than ever to empower China to its biggest accomplishments ever in what is the future of what so many, I'm sure, are concerned for the well-being of the younger generation of what will be better or worse. So I'm going to leave it at that because now I got to make a decision. And here's the thing. Once again, do I buy, part of me is like, I should just go buy the Raptor Black 37 new. But here's the thing. My buddy Alex got me an incredible interest rate on that certified used antimatter Ford Raptor 37. And I've always wanted that antimatter 37 Raptor truck. And it has a cooler interior. The downside is 23,000 miles on it. But it has been completely checked over. It has a certified rating that gets me an incredible interest rate deal on that truck. So if he gave me pretty good, healthy numbers in that car, but get this. Even my local guy, Mo, if you watch my channel, even him, I reached out to him. What I do is I'll go to a dealer. I get a number on the car. So I give you an example. That Ford Tremor truck was a trade for that black Raptor 37. No, was it? No, we haven't done that yet there. No, we haven't actually done that deal. What I did is I reached out to get a value of that truck to do a personal deal instead of the company deal. And my buddy Brad, and to me, lowballed the hell out of me. He offered me $60,000 trading that truck. I was like, no way. So I reached out to Coons Baltimore Ford, for the record, who was closed this weekend. Coons Baltimore Ford, from the Asbury Automotive transition, they could not sell any cars this weekend. They were open for people to look at cars, but nobody could actually buy a car. So it's now Monday morning. They're now officially Coons Automotive, Asbury Automotive. You can go there and buy a car. I could even go there. I could go to the 35. Part of me is like, just go buy the Raptor 35. For my buddy Steve at Coons Baltimore Ford, he'll get a deal done for me no matter what. He always does. But back to the whole point is, I reached out to Coons Baltimore Ford, and at the end of the day, they got me 65 on the truck. Now, Alex is at 66. Yeah, but it's still too much negative equity in the deal. It needs to be at 70, but they're not going to do it. So, and then you go to the Dodge Charger. I was bringing up Mo, my friend at Leesburg Dodge, and what I was saying to you is I use others to be able to force the dealer to come to the table with a better number when I want to do the deal. So, like, for that deal out there at Ted Britt Ford, if I was to pursue that deal with them, they'd have to be a minimum $65,000 in that truck to think I was even maybe making any progress by that truck. So now here I call my buddy Mo, and I asked about my Dodge Charger because they're offering me $80,000 on it. I think that's too low. I was hoping more like 85 for it. And he's like, he said 80 was strong. Wow. But they're the Dodge dealers sitting on product that isn't disappearing. Wow. So that Ram TRX truck, that thing's still too much money. It's still too much money in my book. But here's the thing. Now, Oarsman Ford has a white Ram TRX truck, but the problem is it's basically $10,000 more than that Raptor truck. So the numbers just don't work. I mean, they run $79,000 for that Raptor 37. They're wanting $89,000 for the Ram TRX. So the number, it just gets too much money. It's too much money. But then I could go buy a brand new one. I can go buy a brand new one, 35 package at that same dealership for $81,000 with a 35 because they're discounting it off the MSRP. So part of me is like, why would I just buy that one then and just forget the 37? It gets costly. But then Alex, my good friend, he's going to lose the deal. Then he's going to be like, dude, I busted my ass to get the deal bought. They didn't want to buy the deal, which he did. I was there. I heard him. He was on the phone for 45 minutes to get that deal done. Is he, am I using him? Right, yeah. All right, everybody. Hey, that's it. The adventures continue. And stay tuned. And does a video populate me today buying that truck? Or does a video populate of nothing, right? So once again, appreciate everybody's nice comments and support and help grow the channel and let the channel grow so more people can hear some ideas and views that hopefully we all can relate together, and hopefully the Ice Age stays strong. And as time progresses, this EV age is used, and it's just the old thing, right? Who wants the old thing? Yeah, right. Getting personal now, right? Hey, everybody. God bless. Stay safe. Have a great day.